It's the Mike Francesa Podcast on the BetRivers Network.
Hello again, everybody. The Mike Francesa Podcast on the BetRivers Network is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. All right, the series now is 2-1 as Indiana comes away with a 111-106 win over the gutty Never Say Die Knicks. And I'm going to come at this game with praise for the losers and really criticism for the winners because, let's be honest, Indiana got a couple of bounces late. They got a couple offensive rebounds late. The ball didn't bounce great for the Knicks in the last minute and a half. From when the Pacers had an 11-point lead in the third quarter, and I thought the Pacers early were going to knock the Knicks out, it looked like that after one. And the Pacers continuously allowed the Knicks to get back in the game. The Knicks, with Burks having a terrific first half, scoring 13 points in the first half. Their bench, which had been so dominant in the first two games, was terrible tonight. They got nothing out of their bench tonight. The three guys who had killed the Knicks off the bench, Toppin, McConnell, and Shepard, were miserable tonight, and none of them were in the game late. They were 5 for 19 from the floor. McConnell scored 6 points. He was 3 for 10. He was ineffective. Toppin did nothing. He was 1 for 4. Shepard was 1 for 5. So they got nothing from the bench tonight. Burks and the Knicks scored 24 points off the bench tonight. Outscored the Indiana bench tonight after being drubbed to the tune of 92 points in the first two games off the bench. So Indiana tonight did nothing like they did in the first two games. In the first two games, they got great bench scoring, they got confident outside shooting, and they got incredibly impeccable ball movement. Not a lot of turnovers, great ball movement. Tonight, no ball movement. A terrific performance in the first three quarters from Halliburton, who definitely hurt his foot in the fourth quarter and was a reluctant shooter then, was looking for help. Siakam scored 26 points and hit some big baskets, but his game was spotty. Turner was good for the first three quarters. Nembhard, who had a terrible game until he hit a layup and then a prayer of a three that was the biggest basket of the game late. Let's be honest. Indiana's lucky to get out of there with a win in this game. They put up, 29 points in the first quarter, 34 points in the second quarter, so 63 points in the first half. They put up 48 points in the second half. They put up 22 points in the third quarter after taking a 77-66 game lead in a game where what they're trying to do in the third quarter is knock the Knicks out, get the Knicks to play their bench in the fourth quarter, and get ready for Sunday. They get outscored 24-8 the rest of the third quarter after they take a 11-point lead. And now they find themselves down 9 points in the fourth quarter. Obviously, Donte put on an incredible performance. I've always been a big Donte guy from the days of Villanova. I never thought he had a game like this in him tonight. He was brilliant tonight. He ran out of gas a little bit, but he was absolutely brilliant tonight. The Knicks got, I thought, a gutty performance from Brunson. Yeah, he was 10 for 26. Yeah, he turned the ball over 5 times, but you know what? He gave you a gutty performance. He really did. Played 38 minutes, gave you 26 points, gave you a gutty performance. An insane performance from Donte. The Knicks were 14-27 from 3. They were at one point shooting 69% from 3. It went down to 52% for the game, as they missed some shots late in the game. But they got an incredible performance, a 35-point performance from Donte. They got a tremendous performance from Burks. They got a solid 10 points out of McBride. They got Hart didn't have his best game, but he still had 10 points and 18 rebounds, although he did take a break and go to the bench for a couple of minutes for the first time in days. They got a okay game from Hartenstein, who, had 6 points and 8 rebounds and 5 assists. Achua in this 21 minutes was game. You know, he had his 5 points and 6 rebounds. That's really all you can expect from him. That's okay. So the Knicks got some really good performances, a brilliant performance from Donte. And here's the thing with the Knicks. They don't quit. They battle. They fight for every loose ball. They try harder than everybody else. They give you more effort than anybody else. And for them to even be in this game tonight in the second half is testimony to who they are. It really is. And I really thought Indiana's performance was, if I was their coach, I would be upset with their performance tonight. It's a game that they won, but you know what? If they're not better than that, they're not going to win any more games. They were fortunate to win that game tonight. They should have been able to put that game away on countless occasions. They couldn't. Their defensive closeouts against hot Knick three-point shooters was embarrassing. Their defense sometimes is utterly embarrassing. They had no offensive efficiency this evening. They really didn't. They did not move the ball with the precision that they moved the ball the first 2 games. They really didn't. Halliburton, again, wound up with 35, 4, and 7, and that's with a quiet fourth quarter. Definitely was not 100%. Made some really big baskets for them, kept them in the, really brought them back when they were down 9. He's the guy who brought them back. Made a 3, made a conventional 3, drove to the basket off a steal, got another basket. He did some really wonderful things, scored 35 points, had only 7 assists for him, which is a low number, but he only had 1 in the first half. So he had a better second half. They did not get it from McConnell, and everyone screamed for him to play more minutes. Tonight, he played terribly. He didn't play well. He's 3 for 10 from the floor. 1 assist and 3 for 10 from the floor. Obi Toppin, after 2 great games, averaging 16 points a game. Tonight, 2 points, 1 for 4. Really did nothing. Couldn't even finish off some drives. Couldn't even finish off a dunk. Shep, when they had a chance to make some threes, they didn't make them. They wound up shooting 12 for 32 from 3. They did make their free throws for the most part. Siakam was better, making 7 and 9, and a lot of those were clutch. So Indiana gets a win in a game that should have been really a rocking chair game for them. It was anything but a rocking chair game. And it's a game that, if you're a Knicks fan, you're saying, wow, we could have stolen that thing and ended the series. Well, you could have. You had a 9-point lead. You had chances. Ball didn't bounce right. Okay. Couple of plays down the stretch. Hey, a bad goaltend on a shot that wouldn't have gone in. A couple of turnovers. A couple of air balls. A couple of offensive rebounds that Indiana got, which turned out to be key, especially on the one where Nembhard made that bomb over the 3. He was reluctant to take it. He hadn't made an outside shot all night, and he threw up a prayer, and it went in. And that gave the Indiana a 3-point lead that they didn't relinquish. But, frankly, I was incredibly impressed by the Knicks in their tenacity, their hunger, their competitiveness, Burke's performance, Dante's performance, Brunson's performance. Another gutty, terrific performance from the Knicks. You have to be very proud of your team if you're a Knicks fan. They'll be battling again in Game 4. They could have easily stolen this game tonight. They didn't. If you're Indiana, you're saying, whew, we got lucky. I'm telling you right now, if I'm coaching Indiana, I'm going in there saying, we're lucky to get out of there with a win. We're really lucky to get out of there with a win. We got to do a lot of things better. They did not finish drives well. They did not have any cohesion offensively. You know, the cocky efficiency that they had in the first 2 games in the Garden was completely gone tonight. They moved that ball. They whipped that ball in the Garden to open shots. Boom, 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 boom. Tonight, none of that. It was all Halliburton. And Turner making some plays inside off the pick and roll. And then Siakam in the second half. So Indiana gets a win. In my mind, a very unimpressive win. Now, Sunday afternoon, Game 4. A Mother's Day Sunday afternoon game in Indiana. Knicks are up 2-1. Game 5 will be back in the Garden on Tuesday night. Game 5 is going to be pivotal in the series no matter what happens in Indiana. My understanding is OG's not going to play in the game. Brunson, you know he's going to be playing. He's going to give you major minutes. Hopefully he'll be a little better than he was this evening as far as the foot goes. It seemed like he re-injured it early in the game a little bit. It also seemed like Halliburton tweaked one of his injuries. He's had a couple injuries, one to an ankle, one to a hamstring, and one to back spasms in recent weeks. So he's had a couple of them. But he was out there scoring again tonight. You know, tonight he was more scoring because his team was desperate for somebody to step up. And he said, hey, I'll step up and make these shots. And he did. And he went. See, he seems to be either the quintessential passer or a scorer. He doesn't seem to be the, multiple scorer. He doesn't get 35 and 20. He gets his assists or he gets his major points. He doesn't seem to get both, or he hasn't gotten both. And really, an electrifying third quarter from Donte, who was the reason why the Knicks went from being 11 down to being 9 up, because his performance was at one point otherworldly. 17 third quarter points. He was 7 of 11 from 3. He was 12 of 26 from the floor. Played 43 minutes. Gave you a wonderful, wonderful effort tonight. And showed you why he is that. I talk all the time about that scorer who always believes he's going to make that next shot. There's no shot that he doesn't think he's going to make, no matter how deep it is, no matter how deep in the clock it is, no matter what the circumstances is, no matter what the score is, he's ready to take that shot. He's ready to take that three. He's ready to take that three at the end of the shot clock. He is never, ever afraid of stepping into that next shot. And that is something you can't teach. That is something you either have or you don't have, and he has it. And tonight, there was a time where he was just unstoppable. On his way to 35 points, 17 in the third quarter. As we said, 26 for Brunson, who had 5 turnovers, but 10 for 26. All right. Only 4 for 7 from the foul line. McBride gave you a good 10 points. Burks gave you an amazing, for him to have played 1 minute in the series, 1 minute in the playoffs, then go out there and have 13 points in the first half and get 14 points for the game. You even saw Sims take off his warm-ups for 4 minutes. Hey, the Knicks want it more every time they take the court. They're going to get their hands on every loose ball. They're going to battle for every play, every rebound, every loose ball, every ounce they have to give you, they're going to give you. And that is all you can ever ask out of a team. And this team is giving you that. And did they want it more tonight in Indiana? I thought they did. And Indiana should have been the more desperate team. They weren't. At the end, they were the more fortunate team. And I'll tell you frankly, other than Halliburton, I was not overly impressed with Indiana tonight. I thought they got away with some of the good things they really did in games 1 and 2. They got away from that tonight. They didn't have confident players coming off that bench tonight. They had players who were questioning their shots coming off that bench tonight. They had guys in the game who didn't want to shoot that ball at times tonight. But they made enough plays, got enough offensive rebounds, and got enough bounces the right way to get out of there with a win. So 111 for the Pacers. They wind up with a 111-106 win over the Knicks. Game 4 Sunday. Not a lot of turnaround time. Don't expect OG in Game 4. I don't know about Game 5, but I would say Game 4 is a no-go. But after what you saw tonight, there's no reason to think the Knicks won't battle in Game 4 because they sure battled tonight in a game where, if you had asked me before the game, I would have thought Indiana pulled away in the third quarter and won by 15 or 20 points. That did not happen. Indiana was lucky to get a win. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Francesa Podcast on the BetRivers Network.